makes your emotional pain hurt too.
Yeah, yeah, it enhances it.
I may have moved some.
I'm gonna get a little closer. I just had to get a little closer. Too much room. Not enough human.
Yeah.
Got to get the human in there.
No, we've probably got some background noise with the air conditioner.
Yeah.
But there is a thermostat there. But if we turn it off, I'm going to break out in a sweat.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. We're gonna make an A on this assignment.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah. That's true.
So tell us your name.
My name's Clifford Leroy Phelan Jr.
You're a junior.
Yeah. And it's Leroy, not Leroy.
Leroy.
Yeah. Janky.
Okay. How old are you, Leroy?
I'm 58.
Mr. Leroy?
Mr. Leroy. You know what Cliff means, don't you?
Tell us. Tell me.
Cliff means, or Clifford, it means the son of the king. Leroy means the king.
Oh.
And I don't think my parents were smart enough to know that. It just happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you find that out?
I did a genealogy on my family, and of course doing that I studied the meanings of our names, and that's mine. Now also Phelan is a Scottish name that actually is coming from Germany, and it just means those that came from Westphalia, Germany. And Westphalia is a big industrialized area over there now, and there's a lot of Phelans. There's more Phelans in Germany than there are in Ireland. And I'm 100% Irish, by the way.
Uh-huh.
I might not look it. I might look, a little bit Italian or American Indian, but I'm 100% Irish.
So you fit the stereotypical Irishman? Do you have a lot of fight in you?
Yes, lots of fight. The only thing I remember from the day I went to school, first day of school, I've been fighting ever since. I try not to now, I'm too old. If I fight now, I tell a person I'm going to fight, I'm going to whoop your ass in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And they say, oh yeah, I said yeah, because after that I can't breathe no more.
Well, don't feel guilty, people are rude.
Mm.
So what do you do for a living?
I'm disabled, retired.
Yeah, what did you do for a living?
I owned my own business. I repaired big tires, construction tires. The machines, the pan machines that make roads,
Yeah.
the loaders and dozers. And I'm talking tires that can be 12 foot tall and weigh 6,000 pounds, that big.
I've seen them on How It's Made. Where'd you grow up?
In Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
Did you enjoy life as a kid there?
For the most part, yeah, but I had a rough life. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers, so there were 8 of us.
Oh, wow.
And so at supper time, if you did eat fast, you didn't get much, Mom and Dad were, they didn't finish high school. Dad was a steel worker, U.S. Steel. Did that for 33 years before he retired. Then he went to Butler Steel and did that for a few more years and finally retired permanent from steel mill. And he's passed away now, about 1997.
1997. That was a heck of a year, but this isn't about me. So how did you come to be a student at UAB?
Well, I got a lot of determination in me, and I'm just finishing a degree that I never got finished when I started back in the 70s. And I tried again in the 90s to finish, and I got a couple years in at Wallace, and because of too many family obligations still, I wasn't able to transfer to a, like Athens or UAB to finish out a 4-year degree. And so my main goal is to finish it out before I die. That's it. That's all I want. And if I get something to do as a result, like I'm majoring in anthropology, the archaeological part. and I'm probably going to minor in primatology, which I have a hobby, sort of a hobby, a research hobby that I do that involves primates. Then maybe I can go down to Mesoamerica and do a dig. That's what my hope is. Yeah. They just found a big tunnel under an old temple, what they're calling a temple. And it's about 50 miles north of Mexico City, and the tunnel runs about 1,400 feet long. It's 45 feet underground. Nobody's been down there yet. They found it by sonar. And they're about to start digging there, and it would be great to be involved in on that. They're saying it could be the biggest archaeological find of the 21st century. So that's pretty cool.
So you're kind of partial to people and primates, and so how do you connect the anthropology part with the primology part?
Are you ready for a long explanation?
All ears.
Well, when I was 18, I experienced salvation, like we talked about earlier with Jesus. I'm not involved in that anymore for various reasons. I preached for 25 years as a Baptist preacher. So I am very much a humanitarian. And not only that, in my numerology, I'm a number 9, and if you did any research, you'd find out that life path number 9 is a pure, truly pure humanitarian. He or she is really out for their fellow man, and they live kind of a utopia type of idealistic mind. It's in their head. It's never going to be an actuality. So the humanitarian part comes from basically being a 9. I love people. I've always loved the underdog. I've always tried to help people. One time I was at a campsite. We were celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles. And I saw something during this camping expedition that I couldn't explain. And it raised a question in my mind, is what I saw, a humanoid or just a bonobo or some type of chimpanzee, and if it was awfully big. So the question it raised in my mind was, did Jesus forget somebody? Because if this was humanoid, then it's probably got a soul. And you never hear anything in the Bible or any Christian churches or anything talking about possibly another race of humanoids that would need salvation. So, those are how I tie the two together, the anthropology and the primatology. I want to study. I have a little research organization that I go out camping with. There's about 4 of us now. We did have about 20, but the more people you get, the less results you get.
So the primology was born of that one incident in your life.
Yeah.
Wow. It's amazing how things work.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's interesting. So, are you ready to move on to other things?
Sure.
Different questions?
Fire away.
Are you a sports fan?
Well, let's put it this way. When I get cut...
Hold on. Excuse me. Okay.
We'll edit that part out.
Yeah, definitely. So are you a sports fan?
Yes. When I get cut, I bleed black and gold because I grew up near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Big Steelers fan here. I lived 10 years in Chicago, so the Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah, a couple years near New Orleans, so I love the Saints. And, of course, Alabama.
Who dat?
Yeah.
Alabama.
Yeah, who dat? Who dat gonna beat them Saints?
Are you dating a sports fan?
Yes. Unfortunately, she's an Auburn University fan. So we have a house divided.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I should have asked you if you were married before I asked you that.
I'm not currently married. I'm just cohabiting.
Yeah.
And I was married previously for 33 years. And I got married in 1976. and she left me in 2009. And so, you know, it seems like a lot of years wasted, and in my mind, I think part of those probably were. But when you have 3 children and 3 grandchildren and 1 on the way from that marriage, then you can't say it was wasted at all.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, to say that we were not supposed to get married is to say that our children and grandchildren were not supposed to be here.
Exactly.
And so, just because of mistakes I made and she made, and we grew apart, that doesn't mean that our children should suffer from it. So,
Is there anything else you want to say about that?
well, probably the best day of my life was the day I saw her, and the worst day was the day I saw her leave.
So how do you like Birmingham so far?
I like Birmingham. I don't want to live here, you know, because I'm a country boy. I grew up in the country, up in Pennsylvania. I was in the FFA in high school, you know, Future Farmers of America, for 4 years. And I had 50 pigs, and, I don't know, half a dozen cows, 70 chickens, a pony.
Oh, wow.
You know, so I was farming, man. And that's what I wanted to do. Either farm or be a forest ranger was my goal when I was younger. But those didn't pan out. Jesus interrupted that.
He has a way of doing that.
Yeah. I went to Bible theological school after I got my born-again experience.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different subject. I've been studying the Bible for 40 years, and I've probably forgotten more of it than most people ever learned, you know. And I'm not talking just a little bit of studying. I'm talking hours and hours and hours of in-depth. I'm going to tear this word apart. I'm going to find out why that dot's there and that jot's there type of studying. And what I found out were some things that were against what I actually believed. I know that, you know, we talked earlier about Jesus and all, but there are errors that I have found in the scripture, which is supposed to be inerrant by most accounts, most preachers, and there are, I don't believe it's inspired. And when you say it's inspired, you're saying that God breathed that book into existence. I believe it's inspiring, and I love reading it. It's beautiful. There's a lot of stuff in it that's just dynamite you can't get anywhere else. All through the New Testament, just awesome statements the whole way through.
I agree with all that.
But to nowadays say that I believe it's inerrant and inspired, I can't do that. But I'm not throwing it out either. A lot of people think you do when you say that it's inerrant, that there's errors in it and it's not inspired. They think, well, you're just throwing it out. No, you're not throwing it out. You're just maybe adding something to what you believe. But that kind of goes over a lot of people's heads.
You're developing your own construal of the Bible in your own head.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You and Dr. Robinson would get along just fine. Yeah, you should have a talk with him.
Dr. Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Chris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he did tell me that he translated a couple of the books in the Bible, in the New Testament.
That's one of his passions.
Yeah, he asked me what it was that got me to go away from Christianity and churches and the Bible. And I said, a lot of time and some awful teeth pulling. It wasn't an overnight decision for me. It took about 15 years for me to get away from what it was I believed. So, and now I'm developing a new system of beliefs.
Yeah. And I'm younger than you, but I can relate. I can. Epiphanies happen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My mom says I have too many epiphanies.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's about it, because you talked about your kids, and I didn't ask directly about them. Do they live close by, geographically?
Well, right now they all do. One's in Huntsville, and 2 are in Winston County, and I'm in Coleman County, so that's close. My oldest daughter's a traveling nurse, and she's on her way to Johns Hopkins Hospital up in Maryland to do some work in their neurological department, and she's hoping to be offered a permanent position there. And if she does, she's going to take it and move up there. Since her divorce, she hasn't talked to me. It's been 2 years now this summer. She used to talk to me every day on the phone, call me up and talk all the time, but she's kind of sided with her mom, kind of hates her dad right now, so I'm just kind of waiting, biding my time. She's my oldest, and maybe someday, you know, things will change. I don't know that. My daughter with my grandchildren, she's the only one who has grandchildren right now, 3 of them, Austin, Katie, and Lucas, and they're adorable. When you get on my Facebook, you'll be able to see them. They're just absolutely beautiful little kids. And then my son is finally having a child after 6 years of marriage. And the whole time they've been trying, they just couldn't do it. And all of a sudden, bango, she's pregnant. And, of course, I was teasing him. I said, "Are you sure that baby's yours?" So,
This is awesome. We're gonna have to edit this together. You know we're gonna